I actually want to do that. Good morning. There's a few things I want to say before I start. The first thing is, if I'd seen that clip, and I hadn't before we'd started, I've got the most amazing hat I could have worn. And it's a raspberry pink topper. Wouldn't that have been great? There we are. So next time, that's a reflective learning moment. Look at the clip. Second thing, really, this is where I get a bit sort of embarrassed and think, oh, you're going to expect me to speak as Karen Howell, the chief exec, in a leader capacity, but I'm not. I'm going to speak to you as Karen, who's had an amazing career thus far, and it all started when I was about 15. And then I'm going to show some slides, and the reason the slides are coming afterwards is whilst I was thinking, Joe asked me to speak about me. What does leadership mean to me? How is it? What has it meant? How has it shaped what I've done in my career? And whilst I was doing that, I was trying to pull together what were the main components of leadership that inspired me, that actually resonated for me. So there's just a few clips at the end as well, and hopefully they'll be helpful. So when I was 15, I was still in school. Seriously, I wasn't a dropout. I was in school and started working as a cadet on Saturday mornings in a local hospital. And I did it, to be honest with you, to do something. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I was going through careers counselling. I'm really worried about the language I'm going to use now because I know I'm ancient. So I don't know if that's called something different now, I'm sorry. But careers counselling it was when I was in school. And I said I wanted to be a lawyer. And I don't know why I said that. It just sounded good, didn't it? And I got told very, very clearly that gals, and that is girls, don't become lawyers. They become teachers, nurses, or secretaries. There's a few nods around this room. You went through the same thing, didn't you? So I was a bit cheesed off and went home, had a good old bleat to my parents, and unsurprisingly, they probably didn't disagree. So I carried on cadet nursing and helping the nurses on the ward that I was on, an ENT ward, and actually found I really liked it and I could make a difference. And that's the bit that turned for me. So it wasn't about who you are or what you were or what I was going to be called or what I could be called in 20, 30 years. It was about what was I doing? What difference did I make? And even at 15, and I was feeding, and it was the slimiest, vilest porridge in the world that in this hospital. And do you remember the steel bowls? I was feeding this patient, and at the end, the patient just got a hold of my hand and said, "Thank you, I was really, really hungry." And they couldn't feed themselves. And things started happening for me that made a difference. And really, I'm not going to take you through 36 years, but all the job choices I've made have been about what difference can I make. And once I'm in that job, I then look at what skills, what do I need to do to transact change, to help others to make change, to help others to reach their potential. What is my role in that? And I've done that right the way through my career. And I completely agree with this gentleman. I don't know who he is, but we have turned leadership into something that for many of us think is unobtainable. And that's complete and utter rubbish. Think about what you do every day in your lives, both at home and at work. At some point, and I probably would guess at many points during that day, you're making decisions, you're influencing others, you're supporting others to make decisions and influencing them to reach their potential. Whether that's children, whether that's relatives, whether that's patients, whether that's a work colleague. That's leadership. It's taking the initiative. So I'm going to just show you a few slides. I don't know who's going to... how do I do this, Joe? Just tap it. Oh, this is where I completely screw. Okay. I blow up coffee machines. You need to know this. Okay, so this is going to cost us a bomb when I break it. Okay. So there are 3 things for me about leadership. What I don't want you to do is get hung up on the language. Turn it into your language. Okay, what's meaningful to you? So for me, you've all heard people, oh, leaders are visionaries, they have these great ideas. All that means is it's about a positive image of something that could become good, that you could change, and thinking, I could do that, and I know how to do it. That's all a vision is, it's an idea.
On the white pen.
On the white pen.
This? Learning. This is the next word you hear. Oh, leaders are inspirational. You know, again, all this means is, what do you do? And all of you do this every day. Think about it. What do you do that moves people on? What motivates them? What buys them into your idea, your vision? You know, you could be sitting there and just think, do you know, if I just had this, I could do this an awful lot quicker and move on. That's all inspiration. It's motivating people, getting them to buy into your idea and exciting them, getting them worked up about it and getting them to come along with you. And that could be for you personally, it could be for your colleagues, or it could be something bigger. And then momentum. So you will hear words like motivation and momentum. And what this means is leaders, and I'm really getting hung up on this word, you know, just think about you as a leader. You keep the project or the initiative on course towards that idea. You know where you're heading, stay focused on that idea. And you're using your energy, your personal energy, whatever that looks like. There is no set way to do this. You're using your personal energy and problem solving. So when you hit an obstacle, okay, what do I have to do about this? You might need someone to open a door for you, metaphorically speaking. You might need to talk to somebody. You might need to just pause, take a rest and think, am I on the right course? I can see the idea, but I might need to do that and go a different way. The one thing that comes across time and time again in leadership for the people who you are writing down now that have inspired you, they will demonstrate energy, lots of energy. Now you're all sitting there now and thinking, I'm absolutely shattered, I've had a hell of a week, it's Thursday, what is this woman talking about? The energy required to reach your idea, it requires that. So it's not about being bubbly, it's not about being Tigger all the time, but leaders do have a lot of energy, they have a lot of motivation. But there are times when you don't. And I'll be frank with you, I was at an event last night with Sandra, and I'm shattered today, absolutely shattered. Sandra feels the same. And we all have these days. And if you have those days, you've got to learn to be patient, just be nice. Recognise it in yourself. This is not one of my cover myself in glory days. So I'm just going to stay calm, stay focused, I know where I'm going, we'll have some rest and start again. So if you get off track, if you're taken off track, that's all right. Give yourself a break. Start again tomorrow. But you know where you're heading towards that idea. So leadership then. The words for me, these are the words you'll read about, but I've given you my interpretation of them. Vision, inspiration, momentum. And that's generally what it means. Creating a compelling image, seeking the engagement of others, uniting people around your idea, and building trust. This is massive, and that's why we've done, Ken, thank you Ken, has built this vision for me. The more authentic, the more real, the more honest to yourself you can be, the more you will build trust from people. The more trustworthy you are, people will buy into what you want to do a lot more quickly. So the authenticity is absolutely key in this. And then keep it going. And if you get knocked off track, don't worry, get back on. We're getting there. I quite like this quote by, I tried to find somebody English, but I couldn't, so I had to go for Harry S. Truman. For society, read division, department, organisation. But that nails it, I think, in terms of leadership. So this is what you'll be working on today. The reason I've used this wordle is, can you see anywhere in there the word genius, clever, unique? No. And that's because leaders aren't. Leaders are driven, they're tenacious, they're courageous, they're bold, they take risks, but they're calculated risks. But they're upbeat, and they listen to other people, and they work with other people. Here's two leaders you might recognise. And the reason for this slide is that there is a lot of misconception about managers, and Joe mentioned it before, managers and leadership, and they're not the same. Or you can't be a leader if you're not at a certain level in the organisation. It's all nonsense. Steve Jobs is probably the face of Apple that you know. But actually, what he was very, very good at in terms of leadership was the marketing angle. He was absolutely extraordinary at focusing on the future, selling the image, getting people to buy into the notion of this very, very different product. It's not that different, but the interface is very clever. Where did the interface come from? Where did the technology come from? This guy. This is the technical wizard that did it. But between them, they provided a leadership cadre. They provided inspiration, vision, and motivation. And my goodness, haven't they actually been successful as a result of it? So you'll be pleased to know this is my last slide. What leaders do is they impact and start to create a different culture for an organisation. It doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter what your job is. If you have a leadership quality and you want to change something for the better, you have an impact on the culture. And it may start in your department or just in your section, but it will ripple out because more and more people will behave like that. And a strong and positive culture is of massive value to an organisation. And it is a major asset. And Ken doesn't know, but I do. I love this vision and this picture of this guy sweeping the floor. And I've said it before, I think, to some of you, so I'm sorry if it sounds a bit boring, but you'll recall the cleaner at NASA. Does everybody know that story? When asked, he was sweeping the floor, and I think he was being asked by a radio presenter or TV presenter, and he was asked what his job was. And he could have said, well, I'm a brain surgeon, that's why I'm sweeping. He could have said that, but he didn't. What he said was, I send rockets to the moon. And he meant it. Because the culture in that organisation was, that is what we do. And it doesn't matter what your job is. It doesn't matter how many hours you work in the day or where you live, what your background is. The culture of the organisation was, we send rockets to the moon. And he meant it. We provide fabulous healthcare. We provide a system and a service that keeps people well, supports them to live in their own houses longer, and supports them to have confidence and independence to do that. That's our rocket to the moon. And that's why it's really important that we launch this today, because I don't want leadership to be something that's the domain of the second floor, or the domain of a few officers over in that corner. It's not. You're all leaders. You all have fantastic ideas. That you've proven many, many times. We want to now turn this into the culture of this organisation. We want our leadership model, our leadership programme, to help you, facilitate you, support you, to have your ideas come forward and turn them into our reality. Okay? Thank you very much.